really dominate stuff.
For you.
All right, so next up we have the second submission. Here it is, and we'll go ahead and get critique
Pressure on me.
from our instructors.
Okay, it's me. Hello, it's me again. Hey, I'm going to be a YouTuber.
Dang right you are.
This is beautiful right here. I don't know how much you did to this right here, but it's beautiful. I like the idea that it seems to be coming through a background that's maybe ripped or torn, but I'd like to see maybe more, exciting ripping or whatever, right? It's just a little too smooth and easy, right? Make it more dramatic. I think all this works good with it, the life, the type, but I think I'm okay with the spacing here. What I want most people to get from this is that you got to be real careful with your marginal spacing and things, especially the marginal spacing. Try not to get type too close to the edges. Try not to get type too close to an image where it causes a visual dissension where people are struggling with it. They don't know why, but it feels uneasy, because things are touching or something. But the spacing here is pretty good. It's not real visible. It's kind of hard to read. It's really, really light background, really light type here. It's really hard to read. The only thing that I really struggle with, if I was to say, okay, you just go with it, would be this type up here is really loose, really fragmented. There's no unity to it. It doesn't act as one piece, I like how it transfers to this and this transfers down here, but this is really very loose. Okay?
Excellent.
That's mine.
Yeah, I like that.
So again, building on what Mr. Forrester's saying, there's a lot of good elements here. There's a really fun graphic, this kind of shape here. I feel like this is overly competing for emphasis. This with the darker color, with the extra leading, it's drawing emphasis. This is drawing emphasis because it's a different font, but they're kind of the even weight. They're competing with each other. These are competing with this element, the same here. So I think this needs to be more strategically applied visual hierarchy. So maybe give even more emphasis to this. Maybe some of it cuts off and it's just throughout the page, and that really becomes this striking image that draws you in. If we're trying to say, let us bring your vision to life, maybe this gets smaller and it's 2 lines. This still feels kind of like an orphan, and then life could get a little bigger, because then when you're walking by, you see this beautiful image, you see life, and you're like, oh, what's that about? Okay, it's portfolio night. Or potentially switching it up a little bit so that portfolio night is much more dominant, and then you say, okay, well, at portfolio night, the purpose of it is to let you bring your vision to life. So maybe some shift in balance there. And again, like they said, this is just a little too light for a poster. This is a beautiful font, and I see that they're trying to still apply the emphasis, what's more important, but this one here is just really getting lost. And there might be a better position, a better place to position it so that it stands out more effectively.
Thank you.
Very good.
Next.
All right. So I would kind of build on some of the things the other instructors said. Again, we're seeing somebody pop out here. We've got our text. There's some competition happening for the focus on this as well. The things that I feel from this is it feels artistic. It feels artsy. It can feel graphic designy as well, but it feels a little bit more artsy with like paint splashes and paint brushes and all of that. I think you could bring in some other elements to help it feel a little bit more graphic design, a little less fine art. Like they said, kind of fixing some of this area in here. Mr. Forrest and I were talking off camera, and he's
Bad boys, bad girls.
and he was talking about maybe adding some texture to this white background. So instead of doing a solid white, I don't know how I feel about
Kinda like
that.
white on white, almost like a white on white texture, or blinds that are real light, so that your type still stands out.
Yeah, something to maybe add to this background. I'm not opposed to the white, but you could play with that a little bit. I do agree with how this is coming in, and I think coming off the page is going to make it feel like it's coming out more. Instead of like we're peeping through a hole, we'll be feeling like we're kind of coming into that space a little bit. And then the biggest issue for me really is that this just disappears here in the font.
All right. Okay, so ditto on Mr. Forrester's needing to make this pop. It looks like a flat image on a flat surface. A paper cut technique might have been a good idea for that, possibly, and I would totally get rid of the white myself. I'd put black.
Ms.
I
Smith,
mean,
I'm sorry, one other thing, what you're talking about right there, the way you can do that is you create more shadow in the,
Yeah.
around the edges and it pushes that face
That's
into
what a
the
paper
background.
cut does, yeah. You actually cut the shape out of the background and then you put a copy and shadow it. So that's
So-
exactly what.
So
Somebody might see it
shadow-
on top, I see it behind. Do y'all see it behind or on
Yeah,
top?
I see it
Yeah,
behind.
I see it behind the
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
paper.
me too.
Yeah.
So you're saying the shadow is actually applied to the colorful image, not a drop shadow, the very
inner shadow.
opposite,
Inside-
an inner
inside.
shadow.
Yeah, the
edges.
shadow's applied to the shape outside that looks, it kind of makes it look like you're looking into the shape. If that's what you're thinking. The same thing with this. I think if you flip the color on the background to something a little different, that would really, I would have done several versions.
Just try it.
I really would love to see your suggestion of using the black background with the colorfulness of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about hot.
Yeah,
I
it
don't-
would really make those colors pop.
I don't like the texture in here. I don't know what it's about. I don't really get it. I don't understand how it, like, I like the color, but not the weird
I
texture's kind
You
of
can pull some
strange.
texture from the face out of it.
Yeah.
I agree. It feels like it's trying to match the face, but it doesn't match the
Exactly, yeah.
face. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's that. Just push the red button, thank you.
Red button, thank you.
And we'll move forward.
Good
This might
job.
take more than what